And yeah, at that moment, it's going to hurt. It's going to taste sour. Those moments are bad. But I'm going to go through that because I know I'm going to be better in the long run. And when I get there, that's when you're going to taste the fruit.
Welcome back to the Winners on the Way show, episode 20 with Atlanta Braves coach Bobby Magallanes. Leaders are learners. This is part 2 of 2. Bobby is a former professional baseball coach and player of over 32 years, developing tons of talent throughout professional baseball and pursuing his education. Meanwhile, finally receiving his master's degree in his 50s. You are not going to win a miss as Bobby and I continue to discuss distress versus eustress, having a plan B versus no backup plan, lifelong learning, information and education, and then, of course, the growth mindset. I love this quote as Bobby talks about worrying takes a lot out of you. Worrying leads to injury. There are so many things in value that Bobby brings to this interview. You are going to love part 2 of 2 on the Winners Find a Way show, episode 20 with Atlanta Braves world champion coach Bobby Magallanes. I think we have some great examples out there in the market. And for all you parents, I want to just say right here, if you have a strong-willed child and they're giving you grief, you may have a Bobby Magallanes or a Trent Clark or a, head of Apple or an MMA champion, because there are examples of these strong-willed children. And you could call, I like it, stubborn. The PC is he's just strong-willed. Right? He's a little stubborn little punk is what he is, right? No. He is strong-willed. And I tell you that when you talk about the founders of this country, you talk about your entrepreneurs now who create new products, new way to do something better. They've been told no. They've been told it's not going to work. And yet that strong will is like, I'm going to find a way to make it work. Right. Mm-hmm. And we're back to the incandescent light bulb. Well, I figured out, whatever, 2,412 ways not to do it. I'm finding the one, right. I'm going to find the one that I know how to do it. And I'm going to keep running the tests. Right. And so there is a value in this. And I can tell you from having one of these kids, it is not easy, parents. It is not easy, but these kids are going to set the world ablaze. You may just have yourself a Bobby Magallanes on your hands. And when I talk about with these folks that I know, right, in my world, who now run 100, plus $1 million companies, and they're like, well, I was arrested twice. And, I was like, holy crap, man, what were you doing? He's like, I was just testing limits all the time. And I didn't know right from wrong yet. I was testing it. I was working in gray areas. I had to learn, man, integrity matters. And how do I direct this strong will to the right way? You've directed that strong willingness in your faith. Let's talk a little bit about that, because, man, to me, that's another big superpower of yours, because no matter whatever happened for you, Bobby, like good or bad, man, you were right back there to your foundation, and that would never waver.
Yeah. And again, it's I got a strong-willed child too. My daughter, she's the oldest, and she's going to be a rock star. She's going to be a superstar in life because she's got that, and it's been tough raising her. But I look at myself and I go, she's going to get it. She is, because she's the type of person where she will find a way. She's like, no, she won't take no for an answer. She wants to use no, because when she puts her mind to it, she's going to go get it.
Yeah.
But it's successful people do that. Again, when we research, okay, what makes Steve Jobs what he is, and what he did was, I want to change the world. That's what he said. That's his model. That's Apple's model, is like change the world, and he did it. Yeah. And I'm telling you, he was stubborn, very stubborn guy. But look where we're at right now without him. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be doing this Zoom call right now, And
right.
But so it's this technology. We're doing this podcast right now. But anyways, the point is that those successful people have that stubbornness in them, where they don't take no for an answer, because they really believe in themselves, and they believe in that if they get the opportunity, they can be something.
Yeah. So let's not relive the journey and the challenge of it all, but let's talk about, let's just revisit it for a minute. when you're down, when you're out, was there any one thing like, hey, if you had to go through it again today, that you would have done differently, that you would have maybe pivoted from a value or a mindset, or, you've done a lot of work in that post all
Mhm.
this career, and in the middle of it, like in your coaching,
Right.
you've done all sorts of work on performance psychology and different things, and performances always don't go the way we want. Often our opponents have a lot to do with that, right? But
Right.
our preparation, all these things. Looking back
Mhm.
on the injury, the challenge of it all, when you were down, would you be thinking something differently and going through it in maybe a different way today with what you know now?
I think if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have worried as much. I worried a lot. What the future? What if this happens? What if I don't do? What if I don't get healthy? What am I going to do? I'm
Mm,
only 23 years old. I don't have nothing. I don't have education. What am I? How am I going to live? What am I going to do for a living? Because I put all my hope in baseball.
mm,
And if I can do it, if I can do it all over again, I wouldn't have worried as much. And I also would have, if I had to do it all over again, I would have had a plan B, which I didn't have one. Because I, again, being stubborn, being a person like, you know what, yeah, we would tell me, well, you gotta get an education. I'm gonna be a major league player. Yeah, but no, I'm gonna do it. I don't care.
yeah,
No, I'm not taking no for an answer. I don't need education. This is what I'm gonna do. I put it all in that. And now looking back, again, I probably would have worried less,
hmm.
because worrying takes a lot out of you. And it's
A
like,
lot of
man, you know what,
energy.
things are going to work out. A lot of energy. Yeah, it
Yeah,
sapped it out of me. And also it worrying, and this through being a strength and conditioning coach, is that it leads to injuries as well when you
yeah,
worry a lot. A
yeah,
stress leads to injuries. And I got injured a lot, so I wouldn't have stressed as much. And people say, okay, don't stress. It's tough not to. It's just like, this is what I feel. But now,
yeah,
what I know now, I'd have been like, you know what, I wouldn't have worried as much, and I would have had a plan B, which
yeah,
at that time, again, people as myself with my personality type and everything, we're stubborn. And
yeah,
it's like, no, I'm set on that. Yeah, but you got, and it's like, I'm set on that.
yeah,
And we overcome it. We do overcome it,
yeah.
but man, we bang ourselves a lot. We will bump up against walls. We'll break bones. We'll be in the hospital and all that. But you know what? We made it to the finish line with scars, but we made it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you just enjoying this journey. I so appreciate that. And just a quick look into the rearview mirror. And I got to tell you, I don't necessarily agree with you. I do agree with you on the worry. There's a huge
Yeah.
factor of distress versus eustress, right? And worry puts us into distress, and distress. I love Twain's quote. I spent 90% of my life worrying about things that never happened. Right. And I'm like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
right. Like it's a waste of our energy. And you do not have, if you are looking to be elite, you do not have the time or the energy to spend over looking at things that are out of your control. Being present and being focused on what you need to do is absolutely ultimately critical. And what he's describing was that worry takes away from that, even if it's 2 reps in your therapy, every day it's 2 reps on this exercise, 2 exercise. He's adding 2 weeks to his recovery with those 2 reps, right? Like every day he's adding 2 weeks until he gets back on the field. So is that distress that he's self-creating helping him? No way. No way. Now, on plan B, I gotta tell you, Bobby, you'll appreciate this, man. I, I
It's all
look
right.
I, I look back at my college career and go, I wish I would have studied less. I should have been in the cage more. I should have been, training more. I should have been more focused, because no one cared that I was on the president's list and a top student. No one ever asked for my grades at the bank. Like
Mm.
when I really come back to it, I think like, man, uh, I think part of a lot of folks with a plan B is a catch net, and there's no looking down and there's no looking back if you don't have a plan B, because there's no catch net. So you
Mhm.
find a way to walk the high wire,
Yeah.
because the other option is death, and it's too much to even consider. So I have seen a lot of folks without a plan B. And listen, I'm on the fence, Bobby. I was a plan B guy. Okay. I was. And I'm on the fence which is the way to go? I really don't know yet. I'd love to hash that out. You might be on that panel one of these days, because we need to hash that out, man, because there are both sides of that story, and I'm not sure. The jury's out for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, plan B was being prepared.
Yes.
And I wasn't back then.
Yeah.
Again, it's later in life where I finally got prepared. And that's when it kind of like, okay, but I just wasn't. I just went through it, I winged it, and that's what I meant by plan B. It's like, okay, I gotta get prepared, because when the opportunity comes, I gotta be prepared for that. Success comes when here's opportunity, here's preparation. All of a sudden, man, when they meet, that's when success comes. But if it goes like that, I'm like, man, I wasn't prepared. There goes the opportunity.
Yep.
So that what I meant by plan B is more the preparation, that you being prepared.
Good. I like that. That's a good. I appreciate you, qualifying that very distinctly, specifically breaking that down, because I think that's huge. And I tell a lot of people the story of a double A player that has to be positioned right now. You have to be prepared in all things, because you are one moment away from the major leagues at any moment.
Right.
And this any risk of well, I missed curfew, so I couldn't play today. So the scout from the Dodgers missed you, and they wanted to take a look at a second baseman because they know they got a person down and they're ready to make a trade. And all they're hearing about is you, and you missed the day they were there. But I caught the next day with the Padres. I'm a shortstop. And, I did catch the next day when the Padres saw me. And right now, with their 20-year-old superstar, I don't think they're looking for one, right? Like, they don't need one for 10 years with their guy, right? So the Padres, they're not even looking at my position now as a shortstop. So it's this, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. And your positioning is all about how well you're prepared to see that opportunity. It also creates massive amounts of focus. When we're prepared, we actually know when a good opportunity is inside our lens, and we know when a bad opportunity enters our lens, because we're like, whoa, what's that doing here? You don't belong here. And we know it because we're focused on where we're going, and we're looking for the right opportunity, and we know what the wrong opportunity looks like. And we say, oh, you've got to get out of here. I'm moving this way. Where when people are not prepared, they're like, oh, that's an opportunity. I don't know if it's a good or a bad one. Well, let me go get distracted with that for 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years, like, oh, it turned out it was the wrong one. Let me go back, get on my path again. Like, whoa. I tell a lot of companies, organizations, if we're really going to progress, let's progress 6 steps up, 1 step back. Meaning we're taking enough risk that we got to take a step back sometimes, right? Like, that didn't work. We're pushing the envelope of doing things right. The very ultra conservative, we're not going to take any risks. I'm going to go 2 steps up, 1 step back, 2 steps up, 1 step back. Listen, this is a long way up, man. Like, I don't know when you're looking to get there, but like, this is going to be a long haul. We have got to be more efficient. And of course, you and I both know organizations that are going 1 step up and 3 steps back, right? And they're never getting there. They have no chance.
Yeah.
All right. One value, belief, action that you took when you were down that turned things around for you.
I'll tell you one thing, my faith in Jesus Christ is, I think, what really has helped me to get to where I'm at. I mean, and that's really not what I think I know. It's I don't know where I would be without that, because once faith is lost and hope is lost, I mean, it's all lost. And my hope and my faith was in Christ, that you know what, he's got a plan for my life. He's going to be with me no matter what happens. There's something good going to come out of this. And I think that's one.
Yeah. Huge. By the way, I might consider that also a pretty strong plan B, by the way. Like, if you're talking about prep, like, hey, if you know that that's always with you, no matter, whether you're going to be out of this, washing cars and going back trying to feed the kids and get your degree at that point, you were wise enough, I think, to do this while you were still in pro baseball, taking advantage of your off season, taking advantage of new online learning. You really persevered to that. But Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident you would have found a way. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, I would have. Yeah. Again, like we talked earlier, it's like when I put my mind to something, it's like I'm pretty stubborn. Like I want to figure this out.
Yeah.
And again, going back get my degree in midlife, it was tough. It was scary. It was like, can I do it? Can I not do it? I mean, I doubted myself. I did. I doubted it.
Yeah.
And it was hard at the beginning, but you know what? That little by little, I started getting the hang of it, and I ended up getting my bachelor's. And all of a sudden, like, okay, let's go for the master's now, and here we are.
Yeah, that lifelong learner, I think, really, is a separator for great coaches, right? Great leaders understand lifelong learning, and you have a master's, and I know you're not stopping, because every time we talk, we're now talking about, we're no longer talking about athletes, we're talking about the authors, right? Who
Yeah,
wrote this and who wrote that, and who can give us good information. And we exchange a lot of information, you and I.
yeah,
So let's talk about
yeah.
that for a minute. Information and education. I mean, I think the last stat I saw was 3% of major leaguers have a college degree. And
Oh,
yeah, how about that staggering stat, right?
mhm.
Most people are high level athletes at a very young age. There's a lot of international, so that brings a different education level, because we just have different schooling and way we do schools. Um, but man, most in baseball don't choose back to school. Why did you choose that?
Like I said earlier about Plan B, I wanted to keep getting better. I
Yeah.
wanted to have options. I wanted to have more. It would open up more doors for me, is what I said. Like, you know what, I want to do this. But I'll tell you a thing that really, really hit home is when I was with the Cleveland Indians at the time coaching, and actually I started my bachelor's when I was with the Chicago, coaching the Chicago White Sox organization. But I started to understand that, you know what, I want to get better as a coach, as an instructor, because I knew that where the game was going. The game was going now to other levels. You're going, wait a minute, well, there's a lot of educated people now.
Hmm.
And so I want to stay ahead of the curve. That's another thing. It's like I did not want to be here. Again, I want to learn. I want to get better. So I ended up getting my bachelor's in management, which is in leadership, which is I think, to me, I feel like that's a quality of mine.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot about people, how to handle people, how to have organizations in groups and all that. And after that, again, I was with the Cleveland Indians, and being with them, they were very growth mindset organization.
Yes.
That's another.
Yeah.
That's another area that growth mindset is huge. That's where I'm like, I want to have a growth mindset. It means I want to keep learning. I don't want to
Yeah.
have a fixed mindset where, like, oh, that's just the way I am. I was born that way. You know what? That's just what I know. No, I want to keep growing and keep learning. So with them, it came the opportunity to get my master's degree, and performance psychology was something I was interested in because of what I went through as a player. I was really hard on myself. I overthought things. I didn't know how to handle the mental part of it. That hurt me as a player. And I go, okay, I want to learn that. I want to be able to help the players out that I coach with the mental part, and to learn that, to help them, realize and fulfill their dreams as major leaguers. So that's where I came on board. It's like I had a growth mindset, and I was taught that by the Cleveland Indians as well, and it really was interesting. So that's where I wanted to get my education, was because I wanted to grow. I want to keep getting better, and I know where the game is going. It's like we need to get better. We need to stay on top of the game, because the way analytics are, the way technology is, it's going. That's where the direction of the game is going, and I need to stay on top of that as well to keep getting better and help these players out. But that's where it came from, and again, it's the growth mindset is, to me, that's what the successful people have. That,
Yes.
in leadership, as you talk, you right now, you mentioned leadership. uh, I believe in a person that's a leader is a learner. The first thing a leader is a learner. Before someone can lead, you have to learn.
Yep.
And then once you learn, then you can put that to practice, and you start leading people. So it's leaders are learners, and and I want to keep learning. I'm still learning. I mean, I'm still reading books. As of right now, we're going. I'm still reading books on not only leadership but also on the mental part, which I think that's something that I really have learned a lot more in the last couple of years, especially through my master's degree.
That's awesome. You've had a lot of success, Bobby. You a lot of games, you've won a lot of things, had some setbacks. What's the best battle that you've conquered in your lifetime?
Oh man, I think the battle really is my battling my failures, how to overcome failure. To me, that if that's a battle that I've conquered is with myself.
Yeah.
I would beat myself up all the time, very hard on myself. I'm going, man, like any little thing I'd be like, is like trying to back for time. There was a guy, and I can't remember his name. It was a while back, a long time ago. I'm like, man, you're beating yourself up. Well, yeah, because I'm a perfectionist. And then he asked me, well, what do you do that's perfect? And I went, nothing. Okay, so you're not a perfectionist. And that made me think. I'm going, you're right.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I nothing. And that's the thing that I battle, is trying to be perfect, trying to please people. That's another thing, a battle of mine, is being a people pleaser. You cannot, God can't even please everybody,
Right.
So it's like those were my battles, my inner battles that I needed to be freed up from. And once I started going, you know what, man, again, my faith in Christ, my faith in God is like, I'm going to trust you. You got it handled. I'm going to put my part in terms of me being prepared for when an opportunity comes. And those were the battles I had.
Love it. Let's talk about the mirror. You mean you see these kids every day, like, and we got to look in the mirror. You've done a lot of self-reflection, and one of the things I've heard in your self-reflection that you've really received from your preparation, from your further education, what I hear that maybe you didn't have when we were younger, when we were coaching, like when we were about 30, right? Starting young families. And
Right.
we didn't have peace of mind, right? It sounds like you've got more peace of mind now because you've done the work. You've got fallback. You've got plan B. You started plan B at 40 to get the education, but like you've got that now.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're enjoying the journey and there's more peace of mind. Do you feel that?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. You're right. Now that I'm older, I definitely have changed. I definitely have lived. I've experienced, fallen
50.
many
No one
times
thinks you're
at
50
the.
looking older. Like,
Yeah.
when you say that, like,
Yeah, I'm 50. Yeah.
I want to talk about
And
looking older because you look 29. I don't know what's up with that, bro.
oh man, praise God. I try to work out. I mean, I try. Sometimes I don't. I miss it. But yeah, it you know just getting back to that, it's something that I try to look at myself and okay, all the setbacks I had. I look back right now when we talk about
Mhm.
peace. It just it's really my again, Trent, it's my relationship with Christ. It's like he's a Prince of Peace. It's like it says, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer, petition, bring your request to God,
Yes.
and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart, your mind, in Christ Jesus. The peace of Him, that's what's
Yeah.
going to guard my heart and my mind. So it's like, I mean, I need Him. I mean, I go to Him. It's
Yeah.
like I can't do this on my own, and I go to Him in prayer. I go to Him, Lord, direct me today, guide me today, because I don't know what to do with this hitter today.
Yeah.
He's struggling, and everything I've tried is not working. Lord, give me something. You help me, because I can't. So that's the piece I have, that I've given control up and trying to control everything, because when I try controlling it doesn't work. It
So,
doesn't work.
if you look, when you see people in the mirror, is that the thing they do? Is it the hey, I'm not saying what I want. I'm going after this. It's my time. I can make it happen. They're not letting it go. They're not letting it happen. What do you see that people are struggling with that seems relatively overt, that maybe you struggled with yourself at times too, but you see it a lot? What do you think people are missing in the mirror?
I think what they're missing is being vulnerable.
Mm,
I think a lot of times it's like we don't want people to know our weak spots. We don't want them to know that, hey, I can't do this, or I'm, like something we just got to lay it down, be vulnerable. Hey, man, you know what? I just can't do it right now, man. Can you help me?
Yeah.
You know what? Right now, I need help, man. It's not working, man. Just, anything you can help me with. And we're prideful. Again, pride. There's good in it in terms of like, pride in terms of like, what, I got pride in doing a good job. Okay, yeah. But that pride of thinking we can do it all when we can't, that's not good. Because now all of a sudden, man, we're gonna have help that's on our way, and we're not gonna want it.
Yeah.
Because I can do it. I don't need it. I can do it on my own. And that's when we just like, and I was like that earlier in life. I was really, stubborn in ways, and again, it took a while. When I surrendered my life to Christ, that's when I surrendered everything. That's when I felt like there was just a weight off my shoulders. I'm going, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this a long time ago? It's like he's controlling my life now. He's like, Lord, go ahead, direct me. I'm telling you, ever since then, he's just directing my paths. A verse of mine that I go to a lot is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And that's what I use a lot, where it's like, trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will lead your path straight. It's like, don't lean on your own understanding. And that's why I go, am I doing it on my own? Yeah, you think you know it all. Like, Lord, and I don't.
Yeah. Matt Miesky and I, fellow, former major leaguer, now turned wealth manager.
Ex teammate of mine on Team USA.
Yeah, that's right. Matt's a great dude. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Matt and I had a great conversation about being proud of or self-pride, right? Like that difference between, it's great to be proud of something, but self-pride is a probably self-inhibitor, right? More than anything. So we had a great conversation between that. Let's talk about the last time. Now it's the time for the best way to win. Is there something that you want to share with the listeners that we did not touch on today? That, hey, if they're on their way to journey, they're on their way to win, what is the best advice? What's the best way for them to get to the winner's circle? What is the best way to get them forward and moving?
To me, failure is the best coach. And here's what I use, and I use it with my kids, and I use it with players. I don't use the word failure too much. We either win or we learn, but we don't fail.
I love it.
You're either gonna get better or you're gonna learn. Failure to me is learning. So you don't fail, you're learning.
Yeah.
And so we win or we learn, we don't lose.
Yeah.
And so that's how I look at it.
Yeah, that is to me how you lose. If you lose and you don't get the lesson, you're a loser. You're gonna keep losing. It's gonna keep perpetuating. I don't know how many companies I've gone into and said, hey, we've lost on the last 8 proposals. Great, what have you learned? Oh, well, we don't look at it after, we don't get it. We just, re-up the next proposal. I'm like, wait, review the tapes. Like, let's see what happened. Like, what did they, have we called them back? Do we have an exit interview? Like, why didn't you choose us? What would you have liked to have seen? What did we do right? Like, no, we don't do that. Like, what? Like, it's bonkers. I love that. All right, awesome, Bobby. Share your social media again. You're on LinkedIn. You're on Instagram at
Magallanes Bobby and Swing Ugly at Instagram.
Swing Ugly. I love it. Good. All right. Or should we look for a book anytime soon on performance psychology?
You know what? Trent, I think we've talked about this in the past, but yeah, that's something I want to do. I got started to journal a little bit and gather all my thoughts, but yeah, it's something that I like to do. And I think there's just so much to, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that to give, especially my experiences in life, and also, in education that can definitely help some people out. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing that one day.
Awesome. For us, follow the show on YouTube Live and many more videos on Leadershipity channel. I am at Leadershipity on Instagram and Twitter, also at Trent M. Clark on most of the social medias. You can find me on LinkedIn at Trent M. Clark. For our website, leadershipity.com, make sure you look for our upcoming book, The Pyramid of Leadershipity. DM or email me. Let me know what you think of this show. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please continue listening. Rate us 5 stars always, and follow us. Please subscribe. We try and work hard to deliver value each and every time. Bobby Magallanes did not fail to deliver. I mean, come on, the stubbornness, the perseverance. I had some great notes here on getting better all the time, the growth versus the fixed mindset. being a perfectionist and a pleaser and realizing, hey, how that's not serving you're
Right.
as a leader. And then, of course, the vulnerability and the willingness to ask for help. Bobby, you said your quote, your go-to when things are down. You talked about Proverbs a little bit, and you talked about, what was your first quote there that you talked about?
Yeah, it's only through consistent pressure and heat that a lump of coal becomes a diamond.
Yes. Yes. For me, I always think a lot about my guests for the week. Like I have a week prep on who's my guest. And it's funny that, you hit this right out of the gate, right? On your strong-willed, because I had, James 1:3, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And
Amen.
you've been tested many times, my man. And I am just honored to be a fellow friend, to be a brother, and just to know you, Bobby, to see you work, it's made me better as a coach, which helps me make other people better. So that is a gift you've given me, so I'm thankful.
Thank you, Trent. I appreciate it, buddy. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah. So for everybody else, please join us next Friday. We'll welcome Brad Stevens to the Winners Find a Way show. Brad is the owner of a executive assistant and outsourcing company with assets, many of them who are serving and helping companies in the Philippines. He's gone in there on a mission to change his culture, change things over there for the country, for people that can come out and be in a great culture and work. And even myself, I have people in my organization from his organization that are working with Leadershipity. So I am a testimony to his great program and what he's doing over there. I welcome Brad. He has got fabulous ideas, so it's going to be an awesome show. Look forward to seeing you then. For my guest, Bobby Magallanes, I'm Trent Clark, the host, Winners Find a Way, and we will see you. Thank you for joining us for another Winners Find a Way show. I am your host, Trent Clark. If you love this episode, share this episode with your friends. And follow us on whatever podcasting medium you're listening to. If you want more content from us, join us at leadershipity.com or the Leadershipity YouTube channel. You can find us on all the social media networks at either Trent M. Clark or Leadershipity. For our award-winning workshop, Win with Great Teams, you can find that page on LinkedIn, as well as our corporate page, Leadershipity. If you want to win more, it starts with you today. Say it with me now. I have what it takes.